So today we're talking with Marvin Orieh with Real Broker. Marvin is a solo agent down in Atlanta, Georgia, and he's also a content creator. We're picking his brain about what is working for him today in the real estate industry in 2024. Marvin, how you doing today?
I'm good, Malcolm. How are you, my man?
I'm doing really good, man. Really excited to talk to you. Thanks so much for coming on. Do you mind tell us a little bit about how you first got into the real estate industry and what does your business look like today?
Yeah, man. Well, first and foremost, Malcolm, thank you so much for having me on your show here. Super, super excited to talk with everyone. My name is Marvin Orieh, Georgia agent, dual licensed as well in South Carolina. And my real estate career began roughly 5 years ago, just prior to the pandemic. I watched this guy on YouTube by the name of Ryan Serhant,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking all this stuff about how he was able to just dominate and create the kind of life that he wanted to live and through real estate. So I said, I'm a guy, I wear a few hats, mainly in the Wall Street space is primarily where I do a lot of my business and career and whatnot. And I said, as a person that invests in real estate, I kind of got a little tired of the realtor, collecting the commission. And my wife and I were so heavily involved in investing that, they really didn't have a lot to do. So I said, why don't I shore up some of this money that's coming out by getting my real estate license? That way we're able to do our deals and essentially get an employee discount, of course, because we can use our buyer's commission towards real estate. So been in the real estate industry again, coming up on 5 years. Super excited to talk with you. I love this industry, regardless of what they say about the market. This is the best
Yeah.
industry that you can literally write yourself a blank check. Nobody's going to ever tell you you're selling too much real estate. You're selling too much real estate. You can
Yeah.
literally change your life from this business.
There really is no ceiling to this. You
No.
could be Gary Keller started off as a real estate agent. He's now a billionaire.
Yeah.
Like there is no ceiling to how much you can earn in this industry. And if you
Absolutely.
were to kind of break down like percentage wise, like where your business comes from, what are like the top like three sources or so of leads into your business?
Hands down, 90% of my business comes directly from YouTube and social
I love
media,
it.
primarily YouTube. 10% of it comes from sphere of influence. Of course, I'm not the guy that announced to everybody that I do real estate. I just kind of, if it makes sense in my conversations with my sphere, I bring it up that, hey, this is an additional value add that I have if I'm talking to a client in one of my other businesses, or I get referrals, from other agents that know what I do. But 90% of my business is solely YouTube, and that's an
I
amazing
love it,
thing.
man. I love hearing about that, dude. YouTube is my jam right there. And so you're showing me this channel you have here. So like a listing video channel. Is this the channel that generates you the majority of your clients?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, when I thought about a YouTube name, I follow a lot of people in the content creation space. Again, I mentioned
Mhm.
like Ryan Serhant, Think Media. That's
Yeah.
an amazing YouTube channel if you're wanting to create content and you're not really sure where to start. And so I thought with my YouTube channel, I said, well, our
Sorry,
team,
people.
we're licensed in Georgia and South Carolina. So why not just call it Living in Georgia and South Carolina? It seems to be a very searchable title to name a channel. Anyone that's interested in living in either state will, of course, see this channel. And I focus mainly on home tours. I don't really do the, places to eat in my city or,
Hmm.
things to do in the city. I keep it very, very specific to just home tours. People that are on my videos literally just want to get a virtual experience of walking through a property. And a lot of the homes that I feature here are my own listings. So I'll get, if it's a home that belongs to another agent, I'll get their okay, of course, and tour their property. And there's been a lot of cases where a buyer found me through YouTube on a home that wasn't my listing. It was another listing agent's, and I was able to make a nice commission off of that, representing that buyer simply by featuring another listing agent's content. So I strongly, strongly suggest folks get into the home tour game because it's the most ROI from a content standpoint.
I love it, man. You know, what I tell people is that in a couple years ago, we saw kind of a land grab, a digital land grab of people trying to be the first informational channel in their real estate market. That really started in about 2020. And now, like, most markets have a lot of these informational channels. And I
Right.
feel like listing video channels just like this are going to be the new digital land grab. And you can be, the opportunity is still there to be one of the first listing video channels in your market. And I've seen a lot of agents have a lot of success with listing video channels just like this.
Yeah.
So I love it, dude. I love that. Like, this is actually what excites me right now in the real estate space is these listing video channels. And just people like pioneering and figuring out what the best practices are with this. And tell us a little bit about, like, what is your workflow for one of these? What does it
Yeah.
look like? Do you film on your phone? Do you have a gimbal? How do you edit the videos?
So I always tell individuals, because I work with a lot of like newer agents that are like, well, Marvin, I'm new to this industry. I don't know anyone. How can I get my first client? And I tell folks, you have all the power in the world in this iPhone. And
Hmm.
90% of my videos I recorded on an old iPhone 12 Pro Max. I still have it. I'm not getting rid of it. I'm not upgrading. I'm sorry, Apple. Um, but I use a gimbal. Of course, a lot of the newer iPhones kind of keep the what you're taking video of from being very shaky anyway. So you technically don't really need a gimbal unless you just want that butter soft, smooth video. But that's
Hmm.
it. I just simply keep it to an iPhone and a gimbal. And literally that's it. In some cases, you may want to, especially if you do like a lot of talking about the listing. Um, I tend to do my, voiceover work, things of that nature in post editing,
Yeah.
which I use this mic here that I'm using now. And of course, if I'm really kind of deep diving about a property, maybe after the tour, I have some other helpful information to add that I found out after I recorded, then I'll use my, my Canon, which is what I'm recording on now. But for virtually all property listing videos, it's just a straight up iPhone. I keep it very simple, and I edit it in CapCut within the phone, and it's up on the internet, within a couple hours of me visiting the property. So I think the speed of putting the information on the internet, you mentioned earlier, Malcolm, about YouTube, and I say that YouTube is the only platform that will pay you to advertise your business. And so a
Yeah.
lot of individuals, they have their insecurities being on camera. I get it. We all have them. But when I realized that people are not on YouTube because of me anyway, they're there for a specific thing that they searched, and they clicked on my video, hopefully because my thumbnail was pretty good, and they got the information that they needed. And if they want a further follow up, they'll call me or reach out to me. But when I realized it's not about me, that very easily eliminated any and all insecurities or frictions that I was coming up with to keep from creating content. You just gotta do it scared.
Yeah. I love it. And what's the call to actions that you use in your listing videos?
So something strategic that I do is, and I strongly advise anyone to do, is within the first 30 seconds, it's very important that you announce your name and how individuals can get in contact with you. Because many of us know, especially if you're a content creator, watch time is very important. And you have literally 20 to 30 seconds to hook that individual before they're going to
Hmm.
click off and go to the next video. It may not have anything to do with you personally, but usually within the first 30 seconds, you're going to keep that individual on the video for a longer period of time, or they're going to drop off and go to the next video. So I'll say something very simple. Hey, this is Marvin Orieh with Real Broker. If you're interested in learning more about this property, give me a call, 404-624-6127, or info at Living in Georgia and South Carolina. I say that literally within that first 30 seconds in case they do drop off. And then something second that I do is, if it is a current listing, let's say it's a resale home, I will go in my Lofty CRM. That's the CRM that our team uses. I will find the listing that I'm actually touring, and then I will put the listing information as a pinned first comment in my video. And so within the call to action as well, I'll tell the audience, hey, if you want to learn more about this video, click the first pinned comment in the description of the video or in the comments of the video. Then that's going to automatically funnel anyone that's interested in looking into the homes, the pricing, things of that nature, because it's not suggested to give pricing information via video because prices change almost daily. But they can find up to the minute information on that listing by clicking my pinned comment, and it's going to automatically feed them into my CRM with an automatic drip campaign that's going to ping them and let them know more information about the property. And now they're in my ecosystem for further follow up. So that's the power of YouTube.
I love it, man. I love it. Now, you
Yeah.
mentioned that you do new construction and you also do resale. Sometimes it's your listings, sometimes it's other people's listings.
Yep.
When it comes to like lead generation, have you found like does one of those categories perform better or generate more leads, like new construction or resale?
So I'd like new construction. For one, if I can be candid, Malcolm,
Let's hear
some
it.
resale properties, they don't do the best in laying out, modeling the home. You know,
Yeah,
I forget the word, but having the home list ready. Like for
stage.
example,
Yeah,
if it's a resale property, you know, the photographer may have just been GOAT status and really made that home look a certain kind of way. But when you actually walk that property in real life, usually you can see that the, you know, camera person did put lipstick on a pig, right?
yeah,
But with new construction homes, they are literally laid out exactly how it's supposed to look. It's very modern. They modeled the home, I think that's the word, to where it looks exactly how it looks online. So it looks better on camera. There tend to be more access to more properties, especially if you build a relationship with a specific builder. They love me because for one, I tend to get more exposure for the new construction property than the in-house marketing team that they've hired. And I find that it's less friction to get home tour videos done because some agents can be very territorial, and so they won't let another agent tour their property, you know, unless it's been on the market for a while. Then they're like, come on, come do it. But with new construction, I find that by simply saying, hey, I have an online client, I have a buyer client in my network that's interested in me doing a video tour for them. I want to come in maybe about 15, 20 minutes, just record a couple aspects of the home. Just wanted to make sure that's okay. Usually you're not going to get any pushback from the sales office because they need all the marketing they can get. And for me, it's free content, and it makes me look like I'm the one selling that listing. Of course, I credit, you know, the listing agent, of course, in the videos, but it just gives me endless streams of content with new
yeah.
construction where I know exactly what I see online is exactly what it's going to look like when I see it in person. So that's always a great thing.
I love it, man. I'll tell you what I like about doing new construction listing videos is that that model home may be relevant and for sale for a year, 2 years after you film that video. It is still, people are still watching that because they're considering buying that home.
Right,
With the resale home, you know, if the home sells within a few weeks, anything after that is really just like entertainment purposes only.
right.
You know, so I feel like this model works really well with new construction. So that's fantastic that you have enough new construction in your area to kind of, you know, keep yourself busy with that.
Yeah.
Now, you also have a second YouTube channel, an agent education one. Do you mind telling us a little bit about that channel and kind of what the goal is of this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, taking a page out of folks like yourself and others, you know, when you are doing something that's working in your business as a real estate agent, you kind of, in the spirit of being blessed to be a blessing, that's the way that I approach things. You know, we're not supposed to keep the information to ourselves. So I found that there are a lot of agents, Malcolm, that are struggling right now at
Hmm.
their particular brokerage. They were sold a bill of goods. They were told, you know, we're going to do all these things for you to help you generate leads. And the information that they're being given is antiquated at best. And I found that there were certain hacks and things in my business that was really helping me get ahead incrementally. And that's all I try to focus on is just getting 1% better as a real estate professional. And so if there was something that I learned that I was like, huh, this is actually pretty helpful. Maybe this will help another agent out. Let me get it on camera and, you know, share it with the world. And so I was at my previous brokerage is really where I started focusing on helping other agents. And now being here at Real, I called it the Real Blueprint, uh, pun intended,
I love
because
it.
I think a lot of folks really need to know, well, how do I start if I'm a new agent? What are some of the activities that I'm supposed to be doing? They tell me I need to go door knock, but what if I'm not comfortable door knocking, but I'm comfortable on the phones? Or what if I want to, you know, leverage the power of social media? What should I do? Where should I start? So I kind of lay out three pillars of content that helps listing agents, content that helps buyers agents, and then content that helps brand new agents that don't know what their focus is on. And to be very, very tactical with it, I even offer literal paperwork trainings in my videos for agents in Georgia, where I am, because my hope is that they would love to talk more about the brokerage that we're at, Real
Mhm.
Brokerage, and seeing someone that reflects the things that are important to them makes it kind of a win-win on a more ground level standpoint of why joining. If Marvin joined that particular brokerage and he's sharing all this information, and I'm not even at that brokerage, imagine what kind of insight he can share with
Yeah.
me if I do decide to make that decision to pivot. So it's kind of a win-win on why a person should join Real Brokerage.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah.
And you're also pretty active on Instagram. You got more followers than I do on Instagram. What kind of advice do you have for real estate agents who are trying to build up their Instagram? Like what's your content strategy when it comes to
So
Instagram?
with Instagram, Malcolm, Instagram's a little tricky. So just
Yeah.
like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, your jam has to be your jam. And so I found a lot of
Today's
Oops.
focusing on specific to Instagram, focusing on giving advice to, again, I work with the pillar of three. So
Mm-hmm.
with my Instagram, I focus on sharing my family. That humanizes who I am as a realtor. I try to stay away from my doing just listed, just sold. Personal, that's a personal thing for me because I assume that most clients don't care what I just sold for somebody else. Most clients don't care what I just helped another client buy. They want to see proof of concept, and if they want to do that, then they can simply go to my reviews. But on my actual social media, they'll have the opportunity to learn more about me as a person. So if you just scan my page for 5 minutes, you'll know that my family is very important to me. You'll know that I'm a girl dad. You'll know that my faith is very important to me. And I like educating buyers. So I use that social media platform to talk about, different down payment assistance programs that folks may want to know about, questions to ask a home inspector. If you
Mm-hmm.
were thinking about getting a home inspector, here's some questions that you want to ask. I have my personal home inspector that I interviewed on my channel, and he was sharing best practices on how to get your home prepared for a listing. That's super key to somebody, especially in this market that they got a 2 and 3% interest rate, and they're like, I got to sell. Okay, how can I make sure that my home is actually in the best shape to sell? And they're walking folks through that. So I focus more on my social media, family, information for buyers, information for sellers, and I just kind of repeat that cadence over and over and over again.
I love it,
Oh,
man. Yeah.
yeah.
Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say,
What's your next?
lastly, and information to help other real estate agents. I do that. That's the fourth pillar for social media.
I love it, man. That's exactly what I recommend to people is you figure out what your buckets of content on are, your pillars, just kind of cycle through them and having
Absolutely.
that family one and like kind of building that relationship with people is pretty important as well.
Yeah.
Like you can provide all the information you want, but if they don't have a deep connection with you, it's not
Right.
going to lead to lead generation. So let me
Yeah.
ask you,
Well,
go
I was gonna
ahead.
say, I think a lot of agents, they think they have to go rent a Lambo, get a
Yeah.
shiny suit, and say, "Hey, look at me! Look how important I am! I'm going to sell your house." If I'm someone that's buying in my market, let's say $200,000 home, that's on the lower end of my market. If I see you in your shiny suit and your rented Ferrari or your private jet, and this is no knock to anyone that incorporates that kind of stuff in their content, but I'm gonna feel like this person's a little out of touch. They may not want to help me as a first-time home buyer buying a $200,000 home. You know what I mean? Because they're in a Lambo and a jet and all that. So I try to make stuff very personable to me.
Yeah.
That way, what you see online is exactly what you're gonna get in real life.
That is a very real thing. That is a
Yeah.
very real thing that people get just intimidated to reach out to somebody if they think
Right.
they're super ultra successful or super wealthy, or
Right.
they think like, oh, that guy's too busy to ever give me his time.
Right.
And trying to be more personable and like relatable and connect with people, I think yeah, definitely a important part in this whole process.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you, how important do you think it is for real estate agents to build a personal brand these days?
So I think it's key to stand out because we're in the age, Malcolm, where us as the real estate agents, I kind of compare us a lot to athletes both professional and otherwise. But in my heyday, it was all about the brand and, let's say, the team that you played for. There really wasn't a focus on the individual athlete, and so I treat life like a sport because I'm a former athlete. So I approach everything like getting ready, how I'd get ready for a game, for example. And so I dial in on my strengths and I don't really focus on my weaknesses. So having a personal brand that is real to you, I think, is what will come across genuinely to the individual. So with me, you might see my daughter with me on a home tour with you. You know why? Again, because I'm a girl dad. That's very important to me. That is my brand. And I think that everybody can't be Ryan Serhant.
Hmm.
Everybody can't be here in Atlanta. There's a really popular agent. Her name is Kiana Watson. Everyone can't be like those individuals, but you can be the best version of yourself possible. And I think that keeping things like politics and all of that stuff out of your front facing marketing, you can have the things that you're passionate about all day, but keep in mind that the best version of yourself that you want to present is that you want to show that you're knowledgeable, that you are in tune with the market. You don't have to do daily market reports per se, but you should have a general understanding of your local market, and you get that information from any MLS website that we're attached to, and being upfront about your core values. So, if an individual is a solo agent, for example, then putting out there, hey, I'm an individual agent, so you're going to be working with me directly. But if you run a team, for example, if your team is the brand, then making sure to emphasize that you're not just going to work with me. You might work with this person or that person within our team, but the team is the brand. So I think that getting very confident on camera, flaws and all, I think is going to be very key to building up a personal brand. Being consistent in that content that you create, and then lastly, following through on what you sold the individual that saw you on your social media page or on YouTube. So being confident, being consistent, and having integrity, I think, is a most important three things to building a personal brand.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, one thing that I've been really focused on myself is
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out like what activities are actually giving me the highest ROI of my time. Like what should I be putting my time in? What I shouldn't be. And I heard Sharon pose a question recently where he said, if you could only work 1 hour a day,
Right.
what would you do? And I love this question because it really forces you to figure out what is the highest ROI of your
Right.
time. So let me put that question to you. If you could only work 1 hour a day, what activities would you do in that 1 hour?
Video,
Yeah.
video, video. Um, Simply because I am not the most comfortable door knocking. I could do it, but it could be a safety risk depending on what part of the United States you live in.
Mm,
I've built my business through the phone, so I'm comfortable making calls. So that could be the first thing that you'd start doing is just cold calling your sphere of influence, cold calling your farm. There's a lot of free resources that you can get information for homeowners. I talk about it on my YouTube channel. Several websites that I get homeowner data. So if you want to kind of figure out what's going to work for you, I always say pick three things: either door knocking, aka meeting people in public at the grocery stores or whatever, cold calling, or creating social media content and YouTube content. You got to pick one of those three. If you're not comfortable on camera, then you got to work the phones. If you're not comfortable door knocking, then you got to create content. But I think if folks pick one of those three things, then they'll figure out what they enjoy the most out of those three. And whichever one you're having success with and you're most comfortable doing on a consistent basis, focus on that until you have a reason to pivot. Don't break it. What they say, if it ain't broke,
yeah.
don't try to fix it. That's my opinion.
I love it, man. All right, Marvin, if anybody wanted to reach out to you or follow you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Best way to find me is YouTube. Just type my name in, Marvin Orieh, last name spelled Orieh. I'd sincerely appreciate a follow. If you found me from this podcast episode, please let me know in the comments. And also on social media, at Sold by Marvin. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all at Sold by Marvin. TikTok, I just kind of take the content I create on Instagram and put it there, but I'm most active on Instagram. So give me a follow.
I love it, man. I appreciate it, Marvin, and I'll be seeing you around the real events.
Thanks, Malcolm. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man. All right, great. Dude. I think it's a great little 20-minute interview. All right, I'm
Wow.
gonna try something. All right, I'm gonna try ending this recording,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna try to start a new one.